And just like that, the playoff hopes are done. Hey everybody, I wished I had a more happier video to give to all of you Washington football fans, but obviously I don't. Just got through watching the Philadelphia Eagles defeat the Washington football team 20-16. It was a very close game. I mean, it was a good game to watch. I certainly didn't think that it was going to be that great of a game. I really, after Washington got blown out by the Cowboys last week, really thought that Washington was done. They showed some fight today. They came out. They scored first. They scored on just about every drive that they had in the first half, which was honestly was uncharacteristic of this Washington football team because usually they struggle and they start off really slow. They have a better third quarter. This game, they start off pretty quick. They kept the screws on the Eagles. They led at 16-7 at halftime, and then they got completely shut out in the second half. That's not the way that you play football, but then again, it's not all the blame on the offense as well. The defense, they had some fight in them as well, but I'm sorry, when it comes to fourth down stops, you have got to stop the other team. And they allow the Eagles to get into the end zone on fourth down, not once, but twice. And you just can't do that as a defense. You got to stop them. And there were times where I really felt that the defense just was so porous. Just allowing Jalen Hurts to there were times where he threw the ball and he didn't even know where or who it was going to, but yet they completed the pass. I mean, maybe you can call it luck, but I think you also call it poor defense as well. There are times where the defense played well, spotty, great plays that you saw from, the likes of Tim Settle, of Cole Holcomb, Fuller, guys like that. But then you saw a lot of missed tackles. You saw a lot of receivers just wide open. It's a lot of mismatches. And I have to tell you, now I said this on Twitter, I'm starting to get on the bandwagon of maybe we should get rid of Jack Del Rio. He had a great defense last year. This year, it has really sorely regressed. But yes, certainly you could say, well, we have no Chase Young. We haven't had Montez Sweat for half the season. I understand that. But still, those are two guys. Now, those are two excellent football players. But still, you expect this team, okay, if you have the injuries, you still expect the team to at least be middle of the pack. And they have been dead last or close to dead last in several areas. And I'm not sure if you really blame that on the defense as much. I think there are times where the defense let the game be too close, and then there are times that the offense did the same thing. In this game, certainly the Washington football team, they were controlling this football game in the beginning of this game, and they should have not let up. And the thing is, I'm not sure if it was so much of them not letting up, it's just the fact that they're just not a strong enough team to play 4 full quarters of football. When they play 4 full quarters of football, they're going to win. But, you can't play the first half like they did and then come out and lay an egg in the second half. And that's exactly what the Washington football team did. If we take a look at the stats, we see Taylor Heinicke was 27 for 36 for 247 yards, 1 interception. It was that 1 interception in the end zone at the end of the game. I don't think that should have been a pass that Heinicke should have thrown. Honestly, I think that he should have either thrown the ball away, or I think he had time where he could have made a play, maybe a pass underneath. That was a forced pass, but that's kind of what we grow to expect from Taylor Heinicke. Jarrett Patterson had to come in, play the full game in place of Antonio Gibson, who was placed on the C list. And you know, Patterson didn't have too bad of a game. I mean, he was 12 carries for 57 yards, had that one touchdown. Taylor Heineke had 2 scrambles for 14 yards. Wendell Smallwood had 4 carries for 12 yards. DeAndre Carter had that one little, I think it was one of those, oh, what do you call it? Oh, mine's going blank. But anyway, he had 1 carry. Jonathan Williams had a couple of carries. Terry McLaurin had 7 receptions today for 61 yards. It was an 8.7 average yardage per pass or per catch. Cam Sims, 4 catches for 48 yards. Why they don't give the ball to Cam Sims more, I don't know. Jarrett Patterson, the talk was we're going to struggle because Patterson doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield, but he had 5 receptions for 41 yards. John Bates is really coming into his own. I mean, John Bates is going to be a beast. I think he may be. I don't know. I start to see him more of like, honestly, a Clint Didier. Not just Chris Cooley, because more people would know Chris Cooley, I guess, than Clint Didier. But you go back and you watch old football games from the 1980s, and you will see why I'm comparing John Bates to Clint Didier. He's really starting to become a good player. Brown had 1 reception for 25 yards. I mean, I don't know what to say about Damien Brown. Certainly, we expect more in year 2 for him, but so far I've been disappointed with Brown. But he shows flashes, small windows of opportunity of flashes, but he does show you what he is capable of. He just needs to go out there and do it. Adam Humphries, 2 catches for 12 yards. We look at the Eagles stats. Jalen Hurts, 17 of 26 for 214 yards. No interceptions, no touchdowns. Honestly, felt like he completed more than 17 passes because I don't really remember him missing very many passes. They were either drop passes or just great plays by our defense. But Hurts was just on target all day. Boston Scott coming in to replace Sanders, who has that injured hand. 14 carries for 47 yards. So, the Eagles did kind of dip with their running game, but you can tell that, they were using it more toward the end of the game. Jalen Hurts had 7 carries for 44 yards. Jordan Howard, 11 carries for 26 yards. So forth and so on. Dallas Goedert, 6 receptions for 71 yards. Devontae Smith had 3 receptions for 54 yards. Boston Scott caught some passes out of the backfield for 39 yards. So, all in all, the Eagles did just enough to win this football game. But in all honesty, Washington should have won this game. I mean, the way that they played in the first half, and I'm not sure if it's second half adjustments, it might be a little bit of that for the Eagles. Going to give them credit where credit is due, but I also think that Washington is just such a injury prone, not injury prone, but they are, but I think mistake prone team that they're going to make some key mistakes. They're not going to make the key block. There was that one where there was a stunt and I forget which defensive back, or not defensive back, but defensive lineman it was, but he just blew up Keith Ishmael and just leveled Heineke for like a 20 yards loss. I mean, it was just, they just really blew that up. Heineke out there just throwing passes to who knows who at times. I mean, obviously we can see that Taylor Heineke is not a starting quarterback. Like I said, love him to death. He's got a heart like a champion. He just doesn't have the skill set, and he makes some bad decisions. He forces things. Sometimes he makes great decisions. He shows you that he can win you some ball games, but he is what I call a very, very, very good backup quarterback, but he is not a franchise quarterback. He is not a starting quarterback, at least not for this team. Now, maybe he can start for other teams. I would like to keep Taylor Heineke because he's definitely somebody you need on the bench. I mean, we've already learned, even if we wind up getting our franchise quarterback next season, you still need Taylor Heineke. You got Kyle Allen, who can still win you some ball games as well. And I like both of those guys. And I think had Ryan Fitzpatrick not gotten hurt this year, we would have been just fine at quarterback this whole season. Probably would have been in the playoffs. I feel that comfortable. But as we all know, injuries come, and injuries have really just been so disruptive. I mean, yeah, it's always next man up in the NFL and in football in general, but sometimes it's so much to overcome. And this is just really has been the story for the last several years for this franchise. It's been injuries. I mean, you look at it this year. I mean, we lost so many starters to IR. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to see. And today, I mean, we had another Ricky Seals-Jones who, I mean, pretty much knocked himself out running into the cameraman and sustaining a neck injury. Now, hopefully he's going to be okay. It was very serious. He was carted off. The cameraman checked out okay, came back and kept working. But those cameras are not soft items, right? I mean, you're going to run into those things. You're going to hurt yourself, and looks like that's what happened with Ricky Seals-Jones. But I mean, it's been so just unfathomed just to think about all of the injuries that this team has had to endure over this season. And then you having a lot of players being out on the C list and just, all of the off-field stuff with DeShazer Everett and Montez Sweat's brother and just, all of the legal stuff that keeps going on for this team as well. I mean, it's just, then all of that, this team is supposedly going to have a new name in the next couple of weeks. So this was the last time that we will see the Washington football team at FedEx Stadium. So next year, you're going to see this team being called something else. I joked on Twitter and said, next year, the next time you see this team at FedEx, it'll be the Washington Red Wolves. I would be okay with that. I'm kind of okay with Hogs now. You go back and you watch my videos from a few months ago. I didn't like the name Hogs. I just thought it sounds silly. The more I think about it, the more I start really thinking about our past, the more that I'm really liking the name Hogs and Red Hogs. And I don't know about Warthogs though. I just that still reminds me too much of Lion King. But all in all, that's probably another video that I'll give out to you in the next week or so. But hey, folks, what do you think? I'm sure it's nothing good. If you're a Washington football fan, if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you're just jumping up and down for joy. The Eagles have really done well with their is this a 5-game win streak? It's either a 4-game, 5-game win streak. You guys now have came back to be 8-7, and the only thing that the Eagles have to do next week, win one more game and they're in. And the Eagles' run certainly reminds me of Washington's run last year. Actually reminds me of all the runs that Washington tends to put on during their playoff years, because it's usually years in which they start off that they're dead in the water and somehow they come to life in the middle of the season and get on a huge win streak. And that's what the Philadelphia Eagles have done, and they're playing very good football along with the Dallas Cowboys right now, who are playing very good football. So it'll be definitely interesting to see if those two teams wind up meeting each other in the playoffs. But my hat's off to the Philadelphia Eagles. They weren't at the game. They did just enough to beat Washington. I don't think that they would have won this game if the Washington football team had at least one good drive left in them. They actually did. They just made a mistake. One or two. It really comes down to like one or two plays. Honestly, that always seems to be the difference in these games. And I still go back to Taylor Heineke forcing the ball, and of course, those two fourth and goals that Washington could not keep the Eagles out of the end zone. Even that last one, where it looked like Jalen Hurts was going to wind up fumbling the ball, and somehow, as he's falling down to the grass, he is able to flip the ball to the running back, who somehow slips through all those tackles and dives into the end zone. I mean, it was just the Eagles' day. What can I say? So that being said, folks, one more game, but that's it. No playoffs this year for the Washington football team. And what's going to happen next year? Well, we're definitely going to start talking about that pretty soon. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share it. Leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of the game. And with that, hey, I'm still going to say it. Hell to the Washington football team. Hell to the Washington football Maniacs. I just, oh yeah, I'm just waiting for the USFL. That's all I got to say.